What's going on, everyone? So, what a huge blow for the Miami Heat. So, Jimmy Butler got hurt in the previous game against the Philadelphia 76ers. There was fear and concern that it was an MCL injury, and today we got confirmation that it is an MCL injury. He is scheduled to miss the game against the Chicago Bulls, and he would be out minimum, it says multiple weeks. Chances are he would miss at least the first round, too, if they are to beat the Chicago Bulls and get into the matchup against the Boston Celtics. This sucks because I really wanted a Boston-Miami matchup because I really wanted to see what does Boston look like tested, right? What do they look like under duress? Because you knew Miami was going to bring it. They've matched up well. It's been a mental game with them. They've just been in Boston's head and mental on numerous occasions. And like my perfect schemes, if you've watched some of the videos I've talked about, like I really wanted like Boston, Milwaukee, the 1 and 2 seed, Philly to win that first play-in game, and then that leads to a Boston or a Milwaukee Philly matchup, right? I think that would be great. And then you have a Miami Boston matchup. I think that would be great because you look at Boston and what they've done this year, and you look at just like, I mean, they've been historically good this year. Your thought is like, okay, they should just run through the Eastern Conference. I mean, seriously, like they should at most lose like 2 games the entire way. There's not very many teams in the Eastern Conference that match up, like if Boston plays the right way. But then you kind of understand who Boston is, and you've seen some of the bad habits this year, and you look at their track record throughout the years, and it's kind of like, I don't know how much I trust them to just kind of run through everybody. Right? Like they're clearly far and away the best team in the Eastern Conference, and they might be in the entire NBA. There's very few teams that I think can match up to the Boston Celtics in the entire league. But pretty much all of them are in the Western Conference. Now, Milwaukee, they've shown that they can cause some trouble, and you still have Giannis and Dame, so you never really want to count them out, but they also have to get there first. Giannis is injured. Like, how long does it take for him to actually get back? And even if he does get back, what does he look like? How healthy is he? Like, there's just a lot of questions. Where Boston, they're healthy, they're good, they're incredibly talented, right? As long as you have like Porzingis and Tatum, you're in good shape, right? It's just, but I wanted Miami because a couple things. One, what is their mental toughness, right? Kristaps Porzingis isn't known as this like ironclad mental guy who's just let's go. Like Drew Holiday, yes, he's a guy that's been there, done that. He's good. But like one of the things that I talked about in the off season after Boston made all the acquisitions and everything happened and like the dust settled, I was like, I have concerns about the playoffs and their mental toughness, and they just traded away the one guy that was in Marcus Smart, right? Marcus Smart, I don't like play-wise, I don't think was a huge deal. And a lot of like people kind of came to that like, hey, like the Celtics will be fine without Marcus Smart. And I was like, yes, play-wise, yes. Marcus Smart, I love him as a player. I think he is great, but he does do a lot of just like things, right? Some of his shot selection at times, some of his decision making at times, right? Like there's moments where you look at Marcus Smart and you're just like, dude, please, like just can somebody either take him out of the game or can he just stop, right? Like, but it was more about he was the voice, he was the guy, right? Like I don't mean in the sense of like best player, like Tatum's best player. I'm talking about like he's the guy that's rallying the troops. He's the guy going, no, we got this. Knock out Tatum, you're the best player. Right? He's the guy chirping in the ear. He's the guy that was the leader of that team. And when he left, it's like, well, now who's that? Right? And the idea was to kind of force Tatum and Brown to kind of step up and be more vocal and be more leaders, but just because you want them to doesn't mean that they can be, right? Like, And yes, again, Drew Holiday, but like, I don't know. I worry about their mental toughness. I worry about what do they look like when they're tested? Do they fold and crumble, right? Or do they just kind of go like, is it different this year? Because every year, the last like 8 years, Boston's the best team in the East, and they're in the conference finals, or they go to the the NBA finals, right? And it's just like, I just don't, I don't get like, it's one of those things. Until you prove it to me, how do I believe in you? If I believe, it's like, okay, you tell me you're gonna do something over and over and over and over and over and over again, and every time you fail to do it, eventually I'm gonna go, all right, I just don't believe you're gonna do it, right? Like, Boston has the talent. Boston is incredibly gifted, right? I mean, they're ridiculous. And when they're cooking and they're on, but they love to shoot themselves out of games. They love to just play the wrong way at times. They still have questions about Joe Mazzulla, right? Like, I was really rooting for Miami. Now, I mean, I want Chicago now because I think Miami without, like, the problem is that, like, Miami could still make and still be kind of fun just because Eric Spoelstra is just, I really think he's just going to coach circles around Joe Mazzulla. But I don't know how much they can stay in those games without Jimmy Butler, right? I think that I think Boston doesn't have the same level of fear. Right? Playoff Jimmy just inserts that level of just like, when you're on the other side of playoff Jimmy, you're just like, please make this guy go away, right? Like, please, can somebody just take him home? Like, it's so funny. Like, you just see it, right? And Tatum disappearing at times, and it's just like Jimmy's just like out there. It's just the total opposite. It's crazy, right? I just think that there won't be that same level. So I kind of lean towards Chicago. Like, I want Chicago to play Boston. Because my concern with Chicago is, can they score enough points consistently? Right? Like, I mean, they put up 40 against Atlanta in the first quarter, and it was their highest scoring first quarter. I think it was their highest scoring quarter of the season. The season. Let me say that again. The season, right? Like, that's wild. I mean, there's like 90% of the league is averaging like 40 points. Not literally, but I have multiple games where they're like dropping 40 points a quarter on average. Like, it's insane that, like, so. Now, if Chicago had Zach LaVine, and I know some people are going to look at it and go, oh, Zach LaVine, like, what? It's just another offensive threat that when he's on can score with the best of them. I think that would go a long way. But to me, it's like DeMar DeRozan, Kobe White. Like, can those guys generate enough offense and points, right? I really liked how they played against Atlanta, how the way that they shared the basketball and they moved the basketball and they, kind of kept the defense on their toes, right? Kobe White wasn't just settling. He was like getting into the teeth, giving the ball up, all that stuff, making plays for others. I really like that. To me, it's going to be about just kind of playing the right way, locking down on the defense side. Alex Caruso, how does Alex Caruso look? Because he's going to be massive because you can throw him on pretty much anybody, not named Porzingis, on that roster. So I just think that Caruso kind of gives you that versatility on the defensive side. I don't know how much confidence I have in Chicago to really test Boston. Like, that's, to me, is a big problem. But at this point, it's kind of like Chicago might be the best option to test Boston. And look, I'm not necessarily saying that I think, like, I just want to clarify. I'm not saying that I think or necessarily want Boston to lose in the first round. I want to see what do they look like tested. And I want to see, like, can they kind of get over those demons? I think Miami versus Boston in the first round would be a great first round. And as a basketball fan, I want to see the best basketball possible. And then on top of that, I think, like, Miami would truly test Boston in ways that I don't know if any other team in the East can. So that's why. But regardless, it just sucks. Jimmy's down, and it's like, come on. Like, this is it. This is a moment. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Are you disappointed? Do you think it sucks? Do you think it's just how basketball is? Do you want Chicago? Do you want Miami? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's been enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.